Before you scroll, listen. This isn't random, and it isn't just another video. God may be warning you right now, and the warning isn't always loud. Sometimes it's that same pattern you keep repeating, the same choice that steals your peace, the same "I'll change later" that keeps showing up. Most people will brush this off and call it life, stress, bad luck, until the day they realize they were being redirected and ignored it. If you stay with me, you'll know exactly what to do next. Not someday, but today. So let me ask you something that might sting. What if the thing you are tolerating is the very thing God is trying to stop before it becomes a regret you carry? Maybe you can't explain it, but something feels off. You're still functioning, still smiling when you have to, but underneath there's restlessness, like your spirit is pacing. You've been carrying a heaviness that doesn't match your circumstances, or a confusion that keeps looping back no matter how many times you move on. And it's not just one bad day. It's a cycle. The same triggers, the same compromises, the same outcomes. Let me normalize this. God's warnings often don't arrive as thunder. They arrive as conviction you can't shake, disruption that interrupts your comfort, and repeated nudges that follow you into quiet moments. You can call it pressure, but it's also protection. Because there are two paths in front of you, comfort that keeps you stuck, or a calling that sets you free, noise that numbs you, or direction that clears you. I'm not here to condemn you. I'm here to wake you up with love. If you've been feeling this pull, it's not weakness. It's a signal you're being guided today. Now here's the part most people misunderstand about warnings. Have you noticed how easy it is to wake up and already be behind? You reach for your phone, rush through the morning, and promise yourself, tonight I'll pray, tonight I'll think, tonight I'll change. But night comes, and you do what you always do. You make the same small choices because they feel familiar. You tolerate the same conversation that drains you. You scroll the same content that leaves you empty. You say yes when you should say no, then tell yourself you're being nice or busy, not avoiding obedience. And the scariest part is how normal it starts to feel, like this is just who you are. That's autopilot. Not rebellion with a clenched fist, but drift with open hands. Peace keeps getting delayed. You keep rationalizing what your spirit keeps resisting. You keep negotiating just one more time, just until things calm down. God understands. And maybe he does. But understanding is not endorsement, because small compromises don't stay small. They quietly train your appetite, shape your standards, and build a lifestyle you never meant to live. Time doesn't announce when it's running out. One day you look up and realize you've been moving, but not forward. Autopilot will keep you comfortable, but it will also keep you numb. Calling feels riskier, yet it leads to life. And when God disturbs your routine, it is not to shame you. It is to steer you back before you crash. So why would God warn you at all? Here's the reason. God doesn't warn you because he enjoys frightening you. He warns you because he sees what you can't see from where you're standing. A loving father doesn't wait until the accident happens. He calls you back while there's still room to turn. Most people hear the word warning and assume punishment. They think, God is angry, God is done with me, I've messed up too much. That mindset produces hiding, not healing. But a rescue mindset sounds different. God is protecting me, correcting me, pulling me out before this gets deeper. One mindset drives you into shame. The other draws you into safety. Sometimes the warning is a closed door. You tried, you pushed, you prayed, you planned, and it still wouldn't open. That isn't always delay. Sometimes it's mercy, because God can shut what would have shattered you, even if it looked like success. Sometimes the warning is inner unease. Everything on paper makes sense. Everyone else says it's fine, but your peace evaporates the moment you commit. That isn't paranoia. It may be discernment. And here's the key. God's warning is rarely just stop. It's an invitation to alignment. It's heaven saying, come back to the path that fits you. Come back to the standard that keeps you free. Come back to the voice that's been trying to reach you under all this noise. When you respond, you don't lose your life. You get it back. You don't miss out. You avoid a regret you never needed. So don't interpret resistance as rejection. Sometimes the hardest no is the kindest protection. Sometimes the uncomfortable nudge is the most faithful love. You may not like it in the moment, but you'll thank God for the interruption. And if you've been feeling that inner pressure, it might be showing up like this. Listen closely. These warnings don't always look spiritual. They often look like everyday life with a strange pressure under it, like your soul is pulling the emergency brake. If you recognize yourself in more than one, don't panic. Get alert right now. First, your peace disappears when you move in a certain direction. On the outside, it's a green light. The offer, the relationship, the move, the shortcut. Everyone around you claps, and your mind starts racing ahead. But inside, you feel tight, rushed, slightly nauseous. Like you have to force yourself to say yes. That tension might mean you're about to trade obedience for excitement. For example, you keep telling yourself, this will finally fix everything. Yet every time you pray, you feel warned, not warmed. What to do now? Pause, stop selling yourself on it, and ask God for one clear next step before you commit. Second, you keep hearing the same message through different sources. Not vague inspiration, but the same theme that keeps finding you. Forgive, stop running, end the secret, make the call. It shows up in a sermon. Then a friend says a line that hits the exact nerve. Then you hear it again in a video like this. That repetition may mean God is underlining what you keep skipping. You can ignore it once, but not forever. Example, you ask for a sign and the next 3 days you hear the same warning. What to do now? Write it down and treat it as instruction, not coincidence. Third, a door keeps closing no matter how hard you push. You plan, you network, you hustle, you manifest, you pray with clenched teeth, and still it collapses. You might even get a win, but it costs your integrity. That doesn't always mean you're failing. It can mean you're forcing what God is blocking. There's a difference between perseverance and stubborn striving. Example, you keep returning to the same person, the same environment, the same opportunity, and it keeps hurting you the same way. What to do now? Stop chasing the door and ask God what direction you're ignoring behind you. Fourth, conviction keeps returning even after you justify it. You explain it away, rename it, blame your childhood, blame your schedule, blame the people around you. But the quiet alarm keeps ringing in the background. That may be the spirit refusing to let a small crack become a collapse. Conviction is not condemnation. It's an invitation back to life. If you keep muting it, you'll eventually stop hearing it. Example, you know a habit is dulling you, but you keep saying, I'm fine, while your prayers feel dry. What to do now? Stop defending it, confess it to God, and choose one specific boundary today. If you've felt any of these, peace vanishing, the same message repeating, doors closing, conviction returning, don't click away. This isn't meant to make you afraid. It's meant to make you aware. God often speaks in patterns before he speaks in consequences. And the fact that you're noticing it means you still have time to respond with wisdom instead of regret. Stay present. The next signs get clearer. Fifth, your appetite for certain things is changing. What once entertained you now drains you, and what once felt normal now feels heavy. You might not know why. You just can't enjoy it the same way. That shift can mean God is maturing you and pulling you out of what used to feed your flesh. Growth feels like losing taste for what used to satisfy. Example, you turn on what you used to binge, and 10 minutes later you feel empty and irritated. What to do now? Don't run back. Ask God what new discipline he's growing in you. Sixth, you feel exposed by your own patterns. It's like the excuses stopped working. You see the cycle in your relationships, the leak in your finances, the repeat in your temper, the private compromise you keep hiding. And the exposure isn't God humiliating you, it's God illuminating you. Familiar isn't safe. When God highlights it, he's giving you a chance to change. Example, you keep ending up with the same kind of person, then act surprised when it ends the same way. What to do now? Name the pattern out loud, invite accountability, and break the agreement you've made with, "This is just me." Seventh, you sense urgency you can't explain. Nothing dramatic happened, yet you feel time-sensitive inside, like you're being prompted to move while the window is open. That urgency can be God calling you into obedience before distraction hardens into delay. Example, you keep thinking about reaching out, apologizing, quitting, starting, praying, and it won't leave you alone. What to do now? Act on the smallest obedient step within 24 hours. Because delayed obedience becomes disobedience. Not every urgent feeling is God, but when it's paired with peace to do the right thing, pay attention. If you wait for a perfect moment, you may miss the appointed one. These signs are not there to entertain you. They're there to redirect you. You don't have to guess, and you don't have to stay stuck in the same loop. The question is simple. Will you take the warning seriously, or explain it away until life explains it for you? Now let's talk about what happens when people keep ignoring warnings. Here's the hard truth. Ignoring a warning doesn't mean the danger disappears. It only means you meet it unprepared. And this isn't about God hating you or looking for a reason to punish you. It's about guidance. When God points and you keep walking the other way, real consequences show up, not as revenge, but as fallout. Short-term comfort always feels cheaper. You keep the relationship that keeps you anxious. You keep the habit that calms you for an hour and steals you for a week. You keep saying, "I'm fine," because change feels painful. But long-term damage is expensive. Purpose gets delayed because you're always recovering from choices you didn't have to make. Trust gets broken, sometimes with people, sometimes with yourself, because you promised you'd stop and didn't. Spiritual numbness creeps in, and what used to convict you now barely moves you, and timing matters. You can miss moments God prepared for you because you were busy protecting what he was trying to remove. You can harden your heart with later until later becomes your default language. You can deepen bondage by feeding the very thing you keep asking God to deliver you from. Some doors don't stay open forever, not because God is cruel, but because life moves. Seasons shift, and opportunities pass. But this is also why the warning is mercy. You're hearing it while you still have options, while you can still turn, while you can still choose a different ending. The question isn't whether you've made mistakes. You have. The question is whether you'll keep paying for them when you don't have to. Because regret is a heavy teacher. And the longer you postpone obedience, the harder it becomes to recognize God's voice over the noise again. So what do you do? Starting today, if you know this is you, good. You're not powerless here. If God is warning you, He's also giving you a way out, and you don't need a dramatic overhaul to begin, just an honest first move. Start by getting brutally honest. Name the thing you've been avoiding, the relationship you keep excusing, the habit you keep hiding, the decision you keep delaying. Say it plainly to God without dressing it up. Comfort will tell you to keep it vague. Calling requires truth. Then ask for clarity and actually listen. Turn down the noise tonight. Put the phone away for 10 minutes. Pray one simple prayer. Lord, show me what this is and show me what to do. Pay attention to what brings quiet peace versus what brings frantic pressure. God often guides through steadiness, not chaos. Next, obey the next small step, not the whole staircase. Don't demand a 5-year map. If the next step is apologizing, send the message. If the next step is deleting the contact, do it. If the next step is scheduling counseling, make the appointment. Partial obedience keeps you stuck in negotiation. Full obedience breaks the loop. Now cut the compromise. This is where most people turn back. Warnings become useless if you keep access to the thing that's destroying you. Set a boundary that costs you something. Unfollow the account. Stop going to that place. Change the routine. Tell a trusted person the truth. Accountability isn't humiliation, it's protection. Finally, replace fear with alignment. Fear says, "What will I lose?" Alignment asks, "What will I become?" Build a simple daily rhythm this week. A few minutes in prayer, a few minutes in scripture, and one wise voice you can check in with. When your emotions spike, return to that rhythm instead of returning to your old escape. Do this tonight. Write down the warning you've been sensing and one obedient step you will take within 24 hours. Do this week. Remove one source of temptation and add one source of strength. Small steps, taken quickly, change trajectories. Also, watch for the 2 voices that will speak after you decide to obey. One voice will rush you and say, "Fix everything right now," trying to overwhelm you into quitting. The other will soothe you and say, "Wait, it's not to lull you back to sleep." Reject both. Stay steady. If you fall, don't hide, reset quickly. Obedience isn't perfection. It's direction. Every day you choose alignment, your hearing gets sharper and your chains get weaker. And when peace returns, don't waste it. Use it to build habits that protect tomorrow, not just today. Let me show you what this looks like in a real-life moment. Someone told me a story I can't shake, not a celebrity. Not a preacher, just a regular person who kept feeling that quiet nudge to stop a certain habit and end a relationship that looked fine on the surface but felt wrong in prayer. They ignored it because nothing was technically falling apart. Weeks turned into months. The unease got louder, so they got busier, drowned it out with work, entertainment, anything. The scariest part was how later became normal. Like a lullaby they repeated to stay asleep. Then the consequences started small. Missed deadlines, constant anxiety, sleep that never felt like rest. After that came the bigger cracks. Trust broken, money drained, a moment of panic where they realized, "I'm becoming someone I don't recognize." That's when the warning finally sounded like mercy instead of judgment. The turning point wasn't dramatic. One night they sat on the edge of the bed and said, out loud, God, I'm done arguing. Tell me the next step and I'll do it. And the next step was simple. One call, one confession, one boundary. They deleted what needed deleting, told the truth to a trusted friend, and walked away from what kept pulling them back. Nothing changed overnight, but something changed immediately. Peace. Not the kind that comes from everything being fixed, but the kind that comes from being aligned again. They said it felt like breathing for the first time in months. And if you're thinking, but what if I've already waited too long? Take a breath. If you're hearing this, you're not disqualified. You're being invited. Mercy doesn't meet you after you get it together. It meets you while you're still shaking. God is not shocked by your delay, and He's not waiting to slam a door in your face. Grace is available for today, not just for someday when you feel ready. But hear me clearly. It's not too late, and it is time. Timing matters because choices compound. Every day you postpone the hard obedience, the pattern digs deeper grooves, and the next step feels heavier. Delayed obedience always charges interest. Peace gets postponed, clarity gets foggy, and opportunities pass while you're still negotiating. You have two options right now. You can spiral into guilt, replaying what you should done, letting shame keep you stuck in the same place. Or you can step forward in humility and say, God, I'm here. Teach me. Lead me. One path keeps you staring at yesterday. The other places you in God's hands today. Don't wait for perfect feelings. Move with honest faith. The warning is proof you're still being pursued, still being guided, still being given a way out. So let's do this together right now. God, I come to you right now with an open heart. I don't want to stay numb, distracted, or stuck. Give me clarity where I've been confused, and courage where I've been afraid. Expose what is harming me, not to shame me, but to free me. Close every door that would destroy my peace, and open the path that leads me into your will. Lord, sharpen my discernment. Teach me to recognize your voice above my feelings, above the crowd, above my cravings. Strengthen me to cut compromise quickly, to set boundaries without guilt, and to choose obedience even when it costs me comfort. Protect my mind from fear and my heart from deception. Surround me with wise counsel and real accountability. I declare that my next step will be obedience. I declare that peace will return as I align with you. I declare that the cycle breaks here, and I will not go back to what you delivered me from. If you agree, repeat quietly, Lord, I will listen and I will move. Right now, I release control and I receive your guidance. Fill me with steady faith and a clean heart. Amen today. Before you go, one last thing. Don't ignore the nudge. If this message hit you, type, I will listen in the comments so you mark this moment. Subscribe for more urgent faith guidance that keeps you aligned. And if you want the next steps to hear God clearly, watch the next video now, before it's late.